Welcome back to this other session. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you like the content, give me a thumbs up, comment, share, and subscribe. Click the notification button so that whenever we upload a new new video, new content, you'll be notified by YouTube. We've talked about keys, SQL data insertion, SQL data updates. We've talked about all that, and we've inserted data in bulk. So what we want to do now is we now want to go to the select command with joins, and then from there we do SQL functions. So let's get into that business right now. Right, so let's get into it. So the questions that we're going to cover right now includes those ones. I think I've highlighted these questions last time, or in the last or previous session. So we have these questions. I'm going to run them all, and we rush to the practical session. We rush to the practical our workbench, so that we start writing the queries. So let's just comment this one out, or let's just use this one to write our queries. Let's just use this SQL tab to write our queries. So which query are we starting with? Let me show you the one that we are going to start with. Write a query to show drivers without vehicles. So we have inserted all the records. We now want to see the, let me write it as a comment here to say we are writing a query to show drivers without vehicles or trucks. Right, so that's the query that we're going to write here, and we are selecting. So you will see that what we are doing is we want to select from where, from drivers. So we put drivers there. I say drivers. Right, if we just run that query, you will see drivers. These are all the drivers that we have. These are all the drivers, but we want to see drivers, only drivers without the vehicle. So if you want, we can write another query which can show drivers with vehicles. So let's just say select all from truck drivers. So those that we see in this query are the drivers with a vehicle or drivers with a truck assigned to them. So let me close this one. So these are the drivers that we have, and these drivers, they do have vehicles assigned to them. So what we want here, we want to see only a few drivers. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers with a vehicle, and here we have so many, more than 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2 drivers are the ones that we expect to see when we run our query. So drivers without vehicles. So drivers without vehicles, we say select drivers, right? So we don't want to have such we don't want to have all the columns. So I will just say drivers dot id num, then put a comma there, and then say drivers dot first name, and then drivers last name, right? From drivers, So if I run that, you'll see that the number of drivers did not change, but what changed is the number of columns that I've selected, right? And we put the where clause now. Where, what do you want to select? We want to select the drivers without vehicle. So the ID number of the the drivers that we want to select must not be in the results. So this query that we're going to write in this bracket, so this is a nested select statement. So you will say select driver ID number from truck driver. So we are saying exclude those that are existing inside this table, because all those that exist within this table, they do have a vehicle assigned to them, so we are excluding them, and those that are excluded are the ones that we are supposed to see here. So the where clause is this one. So let's execute and see the results. There is an error where ID now not in select ID now. You have an error checking that corresponds to what? Let me check ID now, where ID now not in select. Okay, it's this supposed to be checked here. Let's drivers as well. It's just what's the name of the column? Let's open this side and then say driver ID number from truck driver is driver ID number, unknown column driver ID number list. So it's what? It's like this, and if you run it that way, right? So these are the two drivers that you have. So these are the results. Let's just do it this way. So these two drivers are the drivers without vehicles assigned to them. So let's comment this one out and run another select query. Right, the next question is about what? Write a query. Write a query. Here is the question. Write a query to show the drivers without using drivers to show foreign drivers. So here we want to see drivers from other countries except Zimbabwe. So what we want to do is we are selecting from drivers. Select let's just take these columns. Let's take these columns. Drivers ID number that from drivers, and then these drivers are from Zimbabwe, right? So our where clause, where home address, where home address is, so is not like, or does not have anything to do with the Zim or ZW or Zimbabwe. So where home address So we will apply the same concept that we have applied in the first query. So if you have any other way of writing this query that can give you the same results, you can put it in the comment section, or you can put it in the chat section, so that others can learn from your suggestions or from your way of doing this. And then not in, then we put our subquery here. So our subquery is going to be like this. Select, we select what? Home address. We select home address from, let me just, I've made a mistake here. From drivers. And put our workloads here. We say home address, like what? So we put these percentages, and then here we say anything to do with Zim, or you may say with that maybe you may say, or we want to cover all ways of doing it. Maybe we can end here if you are sure that the records are not a bit different, like any. So it's going to select anything with Zim, anything with the Zim phrase, with the Zim word, or anything with ZW. It's going to be selected, or let me just say or here, or anything with the Zimbabwean full. But this one, it doesn't make sense to have it in full since we have this one. So we can remove that and then terminate our query here, and then try to run it and check. So these three drivers, Kavulu, Kela, and Ferrari, are not Zimbabweans. Let's check, is this true? Select all drivers. Right, let's check. Kavu, yes, is from Rwanda. Who else is not from Zimbabwe? This one is loggers. Do we have loggers in our query? Let me check. Yes, we have loggers, Mikela and Trison. Trison is this one and is from Tanzania. So that's the results. Those are the results of our query. Right, so let's just close up. So that's our query. Where is it? Right, so that's the query, and these are the results that you have here. 1, 2, 3 drivers. Right, let's comment this one as well and rush to another queries. Right, so the other question that you might be asked in business when dealing with the data, let me write it here as a comment. Write a query to showroom Zimbabwean drivers who spent more than 200 liters of fuel while going to Zambia. Right, so let me just minimize that side and that side as well, so that you can read the question. Right, we'll do it this way. Right, so this is the question that we're about to tackle. And how do we then deal with it? How do we then write the query to retrieve the required data? So what we do is we select, and in this case now, what we are selecting is, yes, previously we were selecting these details as well. Select, let's just get these columns. So in this case we want to select the drivers, yes. So we take these columns, we select these columns, and we are selecting them from drivers. Right. The concept that we are going to apply here is about the joins. It's about the joins. So I will give you the link. I will provide the link in the description, and I will also give you the link here. So this is the link. You can get more about the joins from this link. So the concept that I'm about to apply is explained in a video that you can get through this link. So go to that link and get the concept, but for solving this issue I will just apply it here. If you want to get more, you visit the channel, the video. Right, then what do you want to select? You want to select driver's ID number, first name and last name from drivers database table. And what do we do next? What we do next is what is needed right now. Let me just open a new slideshow, a new PowerPoint presentation, so that you can see what we are talking about. Right, so what are we saying? We are saying we want the drivers. So the drivers table is one of the things that we want. Let me have the question with me in this, or let me just close this one, don't save, and let me just run this one, and I'll just have it like that. Right, let me remove this item. Right, so what we're saying is we have our table. Let's say this is the drivers table that we have. This is the drivers table. Let me name it as drivers. So this is drivers table. Let me, so this is drivers tables. This is drivers table, and then we want drivers who spent more than 200 liters. In which table do we find the liters, fuel in liters? It's a trips table, so we have trips as well, trips. And then which other table do we find Zambia? it's still the same the same table with the destination column. But to link drivers and trips together, we need truck drivers table. So truck drivers table is the one that we need as well. So this is the one that is linking these two tables. So we have these three tables linked together like that. So I will send this one back, and then you have this one named as truck driver. So this is truck driver table. This truck driver table. So this is how these tables are linked. So there is an inner join. There is an inner join where and where and where. We have an inner join here, and we also have another inner join here. So the inner join here is for drivers and truck driver, and then we have another inner join between truck driver and trips. Then after that, we then have a condition, these two conditions which needs to be satisfied. These two conditions, they need to be satisfied. So let me bring it from. So and I have this animation transparent. Right. So that's what you have here. So we have drivers, truck driver, and trips, and this is the inner join and the inner join. And then after inner joining these three tables, then we put our where clause. So that's what we want to do here. So we say select all those columns from drivers table, and then we inner join this with truck driver on this condition, truck driver. This condition that I'm talking about is satisfied here. On inner join, we say which column is common in this table and in this table. The column that is there is the one that is giving us inner join, or that is giving us common values between these two tables, and that's the one that is joining the two, and that's what we call referential integrity. And it's enforced by the use of what we call primary key and foreign key. The foreign key being in the child table, and the primary key being in the parent table or primary table. So that's what we have in here, and that's where we put the on condition. So the on condition on truck driver, so we say on truck driver dot driver ID num is equal to, so the common column is the one that we are now checking here. Then we say drivers dot ID now. Then we inner join this one again. So here we've inner joined the two tables. So it's more like we don't have this one. We don't have trips and the inner join here. It's more like we have something like this. It's more like we have it this way. So we have only this and that. That's what we have written so far in our query. And then we inner join that again. We inner join that again with the last table, which is trips. So we say inner join trips, and we inner join with trips on, because we know that truck driver is having a common column is having a column that is also found in trips table. So that table, that column is the one that is joining the two tables. That column is the one that is joining the two tables, trips and truck driver. So we say on what? On trips dot tdid, which is truck driver, must be equal to truck driver dot tdid. Right, we are done with the joins. We are done with the inner joins. So what we have done now is we have executed this. We have completed the joins, this inner join and this inner join. What we want now to check is the where clause, or the conditions. And where are we getting the conditions? Here is the condition: who spent more than 200 liters and going to Zimbabwe, to Zambia, sorry. So that's what we're going to do here. So we say, we put our where clause, where trips. So let me just close this one. I want us to check the question as we give the solution, as we write the solution. I want us to see the question as we write. Trips dot fuel is what? Is greater. So is more than, so greater than 200. And destination is what? Zambia. Is Zambia. And destination, and this destination, where we're getting it from, it's trips dot test is equal to, or let's just say like Zambia. Right, we have satisfied the two conditions, but our question is saying write a query to show Zimbabwean drivers. So home address needs to be checked as well. So we say and home address like Zim. Right, so that's our query. Let's run it and check the results. So this is the only driver who went to Zambia. This is our Zimbabwean driver who went to Zambia and spent more than 200 liters. So let's just check. Let's just write another query here to select. What's that? Okay, let's write a new query. Let's write a query here to select all from trips. We just want to check the trips that we have with destination is Zambia. We have this one spent 100 liters, and then this one from Botswana we have 370, and this is the one that, yes, we have another one to Zambia. Yes, Botswana to Zambia, Malawi to Zambia. But we have these two. This one is 370 and this one is 370. But we have a result of one driver who went to Zambia. But here we have two. So who went to Zambia, these two trips have destination Zambia and more than 200 liters of fuel spent. But why are we having one here? It's because this driver is the is a Zimbabwean driver, but the other driver is not a Zimbabwean driver. So how do we check that? We check with the TD-ID. We have 6 and 8, 6 and 8. So 6 and 8 we can check. Select all from track driver. We run that. We want to check 6 and 8. 6 and 8. 6, this is the one, and then 8 is this driver. So is this driver is Zimbabwean? Let's just check from drivers. So select all from drivers. So we want to check whether this driver is whether this driver is Zimbabwean or not. So we run the query, and you observe that this driver Kavu is not is Zimbabwean, but is from Rwanda. So that's what we have here. That's why we have that result with the one driver. Then if you change here and say is 99, it's 99, yes, 99. You will see that we will have more than, we have two drivers, Shexa and Kudzi. These two drivers, they've spent more than 99 while we're going to Zambia, and these two drivers are Zimbabweans. So that's how we write the query to get such a result. Right, let's now talk about another question that we have. What's the next question? Let me check the next question. Right, the next is, let's just comment this and then check the driver. Right, query to show vehicles that went to Zambia with a driver Shexa Martin. Let's just put this so that we write our query as we see the question. Right, so we want to select what? Here we now want the vehicles, so we select columns that exist within vehicles table or trucks table. Where is it? It's there. So we write it. We say right now make model. So we are just selecting columns that we think are important for us to view, and these columns are required by the client. So write a query to show vehicles that went to Zambia with the driver Shexa Martin. So Zambia is the destination, and we get it from table called trips, and then Shexa Martin, we get it from drivers table, but we want to select from trucks. So still we have this kind of join. So that's what we apply here. So we say, but this time it's not drivers here, but it's trucks. So instead of having it as drivers there, it's now trucks. So it's now trucks is illustrated here. It's now trucks, truck driver, trips. So we inner join this, we inner join this with track driver on track driver dot, this is track reg number, where track reg number is called tracks dot reg num. All right, and then we inner join this as well with the trips table, where we can see the destination Zambia. Inner join trips on trips dot tdid is equal to track driver dot tdid. Now we need to implement our conditions or the checks. The checks that we have is right vehicles, Shexa Martin, and the driver was going to Zambia, and who is the driver? It's Shexa Martin. So we now check in our where clause to say the driver went to Zambia. The driver went to Zambia. Right. Trips ID that. Then we put our where clause. Our where clause now is we want to select a driver ID, which is want to select driver ID for Shexa Martin, because that's the key that we know Shexa Martin with. We cannot say Shexa Martin, maybe we have 5 or more than one Shexa Martin in our database, but the key is what is the driver ID number. So we want to check where a truck driver dot driver ID now is equal to what we get from this subquery. So what we get from the subquery is, from the subquery, what do we want to get? We want to get the ID for Shexa Martin. So we select, so let me just write the subquery here. So select what? We want the ID number from drivers where first name is equal to Shexa. So let me just put my where here, where this is that, and last name is equal to Martin. Right, so let's execute this, and I think there's another condition which is not satisfied. Right, agree to show that went to Zambia. So going to Zambia is another condition that needs to be checked. So we say and as well here, where and say and. So we're saying where this one is equal to that one, right? And this is another condition, and trips dot test is equal to Zambia, like that, or trips test like Zambia, or like some. you can get the answer, but here we have the full name, which is Zambia. So that's what we do. Let's just check if we can get right. There's an error. Modded. Right, I have a typo here. It's like it's supposed to be modded. So we have only one vehicle that went to Zambia with Shexa. So this vehicle is the one that was given, or that was assigned to Shexa when he was going to Zambia. When he was going to Zambia. Right, so that's it. I hope you are following. Right, and let's comment this one out and get another question. Right, another query that we are going to talk about is about, let's let me write it here, right? The query to show the vehicles that were never assigned to Shexa Martin. Right, so let me just save this as another live comment. Right, so here now what we want is, I think we have applied the same concept somewhere, where we say not in, and we have a nested select query. So what we do here, we say select, I want to move as fast as I can, those that behind. You may pause the stream and ask a question if you are not sure of what's going on. Then we say color, and then from tracks. Right, that's what we want. And we want to select from vehicles, right? So that's vehicles or tracks never assigned to Shexa. So we have two tables. We have vehicles and truck drivers only. So in other words, we have only these two tables, trucks and truck driver. That's what we have, trucks and truck driver. So this is the join that we want to have. So here we say inner join truck driver on track. The condition that we put on is the one that satisfies the referential integrity between the two tables. So we have truck driver dot, it's trucks and truck driver. So truck registration number, which must be equal to trucks dot right now we want to deal with our where clause. Now our where clause is say the ID num. We want to get the ID num of this guy because the ID of this guy is the one that we deal with because it's unique. So we say where track driver dot ID driver ID num is equal to is not in, so it's not, we're just checking here to say we are saying we want all the vehicles, all other vehicles. We want a list of all other vehicles besides those that were assigned to Shexa Martin. So we exclude the trucks assigned to Shexa Martin's ID number. So we select here. Let me write the subquery here and say select ID number from drivers where first name is equal to Shexa and last name is equal to Martin. Alright, so that's what we do. Let's try to execute and check if we do not get an error. Let me minimize this one and try to run it. Okay, I'm having an error and unknown. What's happening with this? Maybe my keyboard is having a challenge. Right, so these are the vehicles never assigned to Martin. Right, so let's just check the vehicle assigned to Shexa. Let's just check here. Let's just check from truck driver, select all, and Shexa's ID is what? Let's just select all from trucks, from drivers, and check Shexa's ID. Shexa is, his ID is this one. This is Shexa's ID. This is it. So let's now check from truck driver, where we assign a driver to a truck driver. Okay, let's run it. Right, so that ID, this is the vehicle that was assigned to Shexa, CBA4321. So we are not supposed to see this from the results of our query. CBA4321, 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 CBA, do we have it? No, so it's excluded. So that's how we run the query for that. So let's get to the other query or to the other question. I think we are done with this one. Let's just comment it out and rush to another question. Let's write the question here. Right, A to show vehicles departing from anywhere before 1 May 2021. So that's what we did here. So let me not save this one. I will save it and publish it to you through the description. I will upload it and give you the link in the description. Right, so from this query we are selecting from vehicles or from trucks, and then we want departing from anywhere. So do we need to get anything from trips depending on the departure date or depart date? No. Do we need anything? Why? Because it's just saying anyway, so we don't care. But the date departing before 1 May, so depart date is within. So we have tracks and trips, but these two tables are linked together with truck driver. So we have an inner join with 3 tables. That's what we have here. So we select, let's just copy, we select, we also are selecting from the same table. We are selecting from the same table, right? Selecting from the same table, and then we inner join that. Inner join with truck driver on. Right, this one is not a problem. Everybody is now familiar with this. Trucks dot regional is equal to truck driver dot truck regional. Then we inner join with trip, and then we inner join on. We inner join on what? On trips dot truck driver ID is equal to truck driver dot TDID, and then from there that's where we put our work clause. And in this case our work clause is very simple, because we just want to check one column, and the column that we want to check here is the depart date, and the date must be before where depart date. So where trips dot depart date is less than string date, then what we do first is we write what our syntax. We put our syntax there, and then the date is 1 May, so we say 01 and 05 2021, and then we say percentage D, percentage M, percentage capital letters Y, capital letter Y. So that's the query that we write, and all the trips that we're going to have here are the April trips. Run that. Maybe let's also, alright, that's it. These are the trips. These are the vehicles that departed from anywhere before the specified date. So the drivers that the vehicles that are departing before 1 May, we only have one, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, they are there. Oh, there are so many. Let me run it again. Right. So these are vehicles that departed from anywhere in any day before 1 May. So let's choose another date. Let's just say we want to choose a date that is a trip that took place in April. So if you want a date that is in April, we say this condition. I'm now just changing to add another condition. So the date is above a 04. So let's just say 3 here, and let's say 31 March. So we are moving from 31 March to 1 May. From what, that's 1 April up to 30 April. So you will find that we must have a change. So if you execute that, so these are the trips that took place in April, but we can change to say we want from this date from 11 April. You will see a change. You see, it's now 3. So 3 records took place, 3 trips, 3 vehicles left were departing anyway. I think I've made a mistake of starting with this. Let's start with that and cut that, put an end here, and then execute it. Right, so depart date is greater than this and it's less than that. So that's how we do it. That's how we do it for this query. Let's now talk about another query. Let's now talk about calculations. A query to do with calculations. So let's just comment this one. Let's drag that and comment this. So another question could be, write a query to show drivers spending more than 5 days per trip. Right, so we want to calculate the number of days between depart date and between depart date and return date. So we say select what ID num, first num. So we want to select, so we just take what we've done here, select driver here, and then we paste it here. So we are selecting driver details, and then we inner join it. Why are we inner joining? Show drivers, right? Spending more than 5. So we have drivers and trips, but the driver and trips are linked with truck driver. So we link drivers and truck driver. So we link inner join truck driver on drivers dot id num is the first truck driver dot driver id num, and then we inner join that as well with the trips table on trips on trips dot tdid must be equal to truck driver dot tdid. Then here now we want to put the where clause, and the where clause is trying to satisfy what? Remove this. The where clause more than 5 days, so we want to calculate the number of days where trips dot depart we want to say return date minus trips dot depart date, and this condition, this must be more than 5, so greater than 5. So that's it. Let's execute and check those drivers spending more than 5 days per trip. So with that driver, Shexa Martin is spending more than 5 days per trip and has got 2 trips which he spent more than 5 days. And then we have Ian Jackson and Miranda. So we may now want to check to say which trips did he go, this Martin, and why is he spending more than 5 days? Or maybe you were saying, no, I never spent 5 days in a single trip, and we have the records here, we want to check. So you will get caught. So that's it on this one. That's it on this kind of question that may be asked in business. Let's have another question again. And we are now working with mathematics and comparisons and so forth and so forth. And you want to write a query. Write a query to count all trips to Zambia. We want to check the number of trips that our organization has done going to Zambia. So what do we do? So here we are not selecting anything from many tables, so it's only trips table that we have. So we just say select, and then we put the function that we want to use in this function. In this case is count, and count all from trips, and where what? My keyboard is having a problem now. When destination is equals to, the destination is equal to Zambia, Zambia. And then we terminate. Let's see how many trips do we have. It's 3. Is this true? Let's check. Zambia 1 2 3. Yes, it's 3. That's correct. That's correct. So that's the query for calculating or counting the number of records. Right, another query which I think is the last one is to calculate the average amount of fuel spent per trip. So write a query to calculate the average amount of fuel spent per trip. Right, so it's just the same. It's the same as this one, but the syntax, that's what is the same. So you say select, and then you put the function, and in this case it's the average of which column. Previously we've counted all the columns, so in this case we are now dealing with fuel, and then from trips, and then we terminate, calculate the average, we get the average there, 292.5 liters. That's the average. So that's it, and I'm sure this marks the end of database practical practice. So thank you very much for being with me. Please, if you have enjoyed the content, please like and give a comment if you have a comment. If you have a suggestion, please give me your suggestions. Maybe I may improve to something or to another level. And if you feel that the content is relevant for your colleagues or anyone, share the link with them. And most importantly, subscribe to Shexa's YouTube channel. I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best in life, in business, in family, in everything that you will be doing. I wish you all the best. May God be with you. May God protect you against all evil that may come your way as you live your life. Goodbye.